$8.20 for the bottle, 40 cents of chemistry inside it, $7.80 of water, dye, fragrance, bottle, and trademark. That is the receipt on most of the spray bottles in your cleaning cabinet right now. I have been looking at ingredient labels for longer than some of these brands have existed, and I have to say, the cleaning aisle is the only place in America where you can pay $8 for a bottle of water and feel good about it. At least the bottled water aisle is honest about what is in the bottle. The first ingredient on the label is water, always. By volume, water makes up somewhere between 60 and 70% of the bottle. The second ingredient is the active. The active is what does the cleaning. The active is usually one of about 8 chemicals, sold under 20 different brand names, at 20 different price points. The consumer aisle is not selling chemistry. It is selling the same 8 chemicals in 20 different costumes. I supervised institutional cleaning programs for a working lifetime. The supply room bought the same chemistry these consumer brands sell by the case at roughly 1/10 the per-quart price. We did not buy the consumer spray bottle. Nobody on the line did. The chemistry has not changed. The price tag has. Hit subscribe. 7 of the worst markup offenders sitting in the cleaning aisle right now. These 7 are not the only 7. They are the 7 a typical American household most reliably has on the shelf. Each one is mostly water. Each one is a brand name overhead the chemistry does not need. Number 7. Stainless steel cleaner. Wyman. Easy off stainless. Whatever the can says on yours. The branded stainless steel polish in the spray bottle or the spray foam can sells for somewhere between $5 and $9 per 12 to 17 ounces. Read the back. The first ingredient is water. The second is usually a light mineral oil or a low volatility silicone. The third is a surfactant. The fourth and fifth are fragrance and a propellant if it is an aerosol. Total active chemistry, about 10% of the can by weight. The rest is water, hydrocarbon carrier, and the can itself. The reason stainless steel polish works is not complicated. The mineral oil fills in the microscopic scratches in the brushed surface and creates a thin barrier against fingerprints. The surfactant helps the oil spread evenly. That is the entire product. Oil and a spreading agent. The pantry equivalent. A microfiber cloth with a single drop of light mineral oil. Wipe in the direction of the grain. Done. Mineral oil at the pharmacy runs about $2 for a pint. A pint covers about 2 years of stainless steel polishing in a typical kitchen, roughly 15 cents a year. The branded version costs about $6 per use cycle. That is a 40-to-1 gap. Any commercial kitchen that has a stainless steel prep table, and they all do, uses a rag with a drop of food-grade mineral oil. Nobody on a restaurant line is reaching for a $7 aerosol can. The can is for people who do not know what is in it. Number 6. Febreze. The fabric refresher that lives next to the laundry detergent. About $4 to $6 per 27 ounces. Read the back. The first ingredient is water. The second is a cyclodextrin or a similar fragrance binding agent. In some products at concentrations of less than 0.5%. The third and fourth are fragrance and a preservative. By volume, Febreze is between 90 and 95% water. Let me say that again. 90 to 95% water. You are buying a spray bottle that is almost entirely water, with a trace amount of fragrance binder for $5. The tap in your kitchen does the water part for free. Febreze is what happens when a marketing department looks at a spray bottle of water and says, "How do we charge $5 for this?" The answer is fragrance and a purple label. Here is why the vodka trick works better. Alcohol is a solvent. It bonds with the odor molecules trapped in the fabric fibers and evaporates them out. The odor leaves with the alcohol. Febreze traps the odor molecule inside a cyclodextrin ring so your nose cannot detect it. But the odor is still in the fabric. The alcohol removes it. The cyclodextrin hides it. Different mechanism entirely. The pantry equivalent. A spray bottle of water with a tablespoon of vodka or rubbing alcohol per quart plus a few drops of an essential oil or a small amount of vinegar. The alcohol evaporates and carries the odor molecules off the fabric. Total cost per spray bottle, under 30 cents. The branded version costs about 15 times that for the same volume. Number 5. Scrubbing bubbles. The bathroom cleaner foam in the green trigger bottle, about $4 to $6 per 28 ounces. Read the back. The first ingredient is water. The second is usually a quaternary ammonium compound or a hydrogen peroxide carrier at low concentration. The third is a surfactant. The fourth is fragrance. By volume, somewhere between 65 and 75% water. The foam dispenser at the trigger gives the impression of more product than is actually being applied. The foam looks like a lot of chemistry. It is not. It is air whipped into a surfactant, the same trick shaving cream uses. The pantry equivalent, a spray bottle of 1 part distilled white vinegar to 1 part water, plus a teaspoon of Castile soap per quart. The surfactant in the soap plus the acid in the vinegar lifts soap film off tile and tub better than the foam. Total cost per spray bottle, about 25 cents. The acid in the vinegar dissolves the calcium and magnesium deposits that make soap scum stick to surfaces. The surfactant in the Castile soap lifts the dissolved residue off the tile. The foam-based product uses a quat to do roughly the same thing at a higher cost, with added fragrance that makes you think it is working harder. It is not. One warning: vinegar etches stone. If your bathroom has marble, granite, or travertine, skip the vinegar. Use the soap and water alone. Number 4. Pine Sol. The branded floor cleaner that sells in the gallon jug concentrate, somewhere between $8 and $14 per gallon. Read the back. The first ingredient is water. The second is usually a surfactant or a pine oil derivative at 5 to 10%. The third is fragrance. The fourth is a colorant. The concentrate is between 60 and 70% water before you ever dilute it into the mop bucket. After dilution at the label ratio, the working solution is closer to 99% water. Think about that for a second. You bought a jug that is mostly water. Then you added more water to it. You are mopping with an almost invisible amount of surfactant and a smell. The pine scent is doing more marketing than cleaning. The pine fragrance is the oldest trick in the floor care aisle. A clean floor does not smell like pine trees. A floor that has been wiped with a surfactant smells like nothing. The pine smell exists because the consumer learned from advertising that pine equals clean. It does not. Pine equals pine oil at 2 to 5% concentration, which is a mild solvent, plus fragrance at a higher concentration than the active ingredient. You are mopping with perfume. Every hospital floor crew I ever supervised mopped with a dilute soap solution or a dilute quat disinfectant. Neither one smelled like anything. The floor was clean because the chemistry was right, not because the fragrance was strong. The pantry equivalent: half a cup of distilled white vinegar plus a tablespoon of Castile soap in a gallon of warm water. For hardwood floors that do not tolerate vinegar, a tablespoon of Castile soap alone in a gallon of warm water and damp mop. Total cost per mop bucket, under 20 cents. Take a step back. Look at the math on what we have covered so far. 4 products: stainless steel polish, fabric refresher, bathroom foam, floor cleaner. The consumer aisle versions run somewhere between $4 and $14 per bottle. The pantry equivalents run somewhere between 15 and 30 cents. The active chemistry in each consumer product, the ingredient that actually does the work, costs the manufacturer less than 60 cents per bottle to include. The other $7 to $13 is the water, the dye, the fragrance, the bottle, the nozzle, the shelf placement, and the brand name. The consumer cleaning aisle is not a chemistry aisle. It is a marketing aisle that happens to contain chemistry. The chemistry is a 150-year-old solved problem. The marketing is a 70-year-old cash machine. Number 3. Clorox disinfecting wipes. The canister in every American kitchen. About $5 to $9 per 75-count tub. Here is the thing about the wipes canister. The Clorox version is EPA registered and does, when used correctly, deliver the disinfection on the label. The trouble is, the directions on the back say to keep the surface wet for 4 minutes. Nobody does that. The wipe and walk away takes 30 seconds. The chemistry needs 4 minutes. If you are wiping and walking, you are cleaning, not disinfecting. A much cheaper cleaner does the cleaning job better. Most households go through a canister of disinfecting wipes every 2 to 4 weeks. That is somewhere between $6 and $9 a month, $70 to $100 a year, on a product that is delivering about 30 seconds of surface contact when the chemistry needs 4 minutes. The consumer is paying for convenience that does not match the claim. The pantry equivalent for the daily wipe down: a spray bottle of 1 tablespoon of Castile soap per quart of water with a soft cloth, about 25 cents per quart, replaces the daily use side of the wipes canister entirely. For the rare day you actually need to disinfect: fresh bleach dilution, 1/3 cup per gallon of water, about 5 cents per quart, applied correctly, kept wet for the contact time. It outperforms the wipes canister at roughly 1/100th of the price per actual disinfection event. Number 2, Mr. Clean All-Purpose Spray, the branded all-purpose cleaner in the trigger spray bottle, about $4 to $7 per 28 ounces. Read the back: water, surfactant, chelating agent, fragrance, dye. By volume, between 65 and 75% water. The active chemistry is the surfactant at about 3 to 6% of the bottle. That is the cleaning. The rest is presentation. The chelating agent in the formula is there to soften the water in the bottle so the surfactant works consistently across different tap water regions. It costs about 2 cents per bottle to include. The dye costs less than a cent. The fragrance costs between 5 and 15 cents depending on the brand. The surfactant, the only ingredient doing the cleaning, costs about 10 to 20 cents at the concentration used. Total production cost of the chemistry inside the bottle: somewhere between 20 and 40 cents. The bottle sells for $4 to $7. Any commercial kitchen has an all-purpose cleaner in a spray bottle. It is either diluted Castile soap or a diluted quat solution mixed from concentrate. Nobody on the line pays $4 per bottle for the consumer version. The supply room buys the concentrate by the gallon and mixes it on site. Same chemistry, 1/10 the price. The pantry equivalent: 2 cups of warm water, 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar, half a teaspoon of Castile soap in a spray bottle, about 20 cents per spray bottle. Run the annual math on this one product alone. Most households replace the all-purpose spray every 2 to 3 months. That is 4 to 6 bottles a year, $16 to $42. The pantry version at 20 cents per bottle, replaced at the same rate, about $1.20 a year. The gap on this single product is $15 to $40 for the same chemistry minus the dye and the fragrance. Number 1, Windex, the branded glass cleaner with the blue dye, about $4 to $6 per 26 ounces. Read the back: water, a small amount of isopropanol, ammonium hydroxide at less than 1%, a surfactant, the famous blue dye, which performs no cleaning function whatsoever. Fragrance. By volume, Windex is between 80 and 90% water. The total functional chemistry is between 3 and 6%. The blue color exists to signal the words glass cleaner to the consumer. The smell exists to signal freshness. Neither one cleans. If you poured the same chemistry into a clear bottle with no dye and no fragrance, you would look at it and think, this is water, because it mostly is. Here is what the blue dye actually does. It is a psychological anchor. The consumer opens the cabinet, sees the blue bottle, and the brain registers glass cleaner without reading the label. The color is the brand. Remove the blue dye, and the consumer would not reach for it. The dye costs less than a penny per bottle to add. That penny is the most profitable ingredient in the entire consumer cleaning aisle, because without it, the consumer would not pay $4 to $6 for what is essentially ammonia water. The pantry equivalent: 1 part distilled white vinegar to 1 part water in a spray bottle, with a clean newspaper or a soft microfiber cloth. Cleans glass, better than Windex. No streaks, no residue. About 15 cents per spray bottle. The reason vinegar works better on glass is the acetic acid. It cuts through the oily film that fingerprints and cooking grease leave on glass surfaces. Ammonia does roughly the same thing but leaves a faint residue that attracts dust faster. The vinegar evaporates clean. That is why professional window cleaners, the ones who clean office buildings for a living, use acid-based solutions, not ammonia-based ones. That is a 30-to-1 markup, the biggest single offender in the consumer cleaning aisle, the cheapest chemistry, the most aggressive premium. Pick up the 4 spray bottles next to your sink right now and the 3 solid containers in the pantry next to them. The 4 spray bottles assume an average of $5 each, $20 in the cabinet. Replace each one 4 to 6 times a year. Annual spend on those 4, somewhere between $80 and $120. The 3 solid containers, a bottle of distilled white vinegar at $2, a box of baking soda at $1.50, a bottle of Castile soap concentrate at $15. Total, $18.50. Lasts a year easily. $18.50 replaces about $100 of spray bottle chemistry. Same active ingredients, roughly 1/5 the cost. The consumer cleaning aisle is a $50 billion industry in the United States. About $35 billion of that is the bottle, the label, the dye, the fragrance, the shelf space, the nozzle design, and the television commercial you watched when you were 12 years old. The other $15 billion is the chemistry, and most of that chemistry has been in the public domain since before any of us were born. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you have in your house right now. All 7, 5, 3. I will bet most American kitchens are running at least 4. The receipt does not lie. Turn the bottle around. The back tells you everything the front does not.